Alrighty. Well, thank you everyone for joining me this morning. Wherever you are in the world, for me it's morning. It's 9 a.m. here in Texas. Some of you might be late in the evening, so thank you for taking time out of your schedules to learn more about the IAAS World Global Project Competition here. Oh, oh. So a little bit about just what is the GPC? So the GPC, or Global Project Competition, is IAAS World's flagship project initiative that recognizes and promotes high impact youth led projects that address critical challenges across agriculture, food systems, environmental issues, societal problems, and it aims to give a platform to IAAS communities around the world to have this unparalleled opportunity to showcase innovative and sustainable projects that they're actively engaged in that make a real difference within their communities. The GPC is more than just a competition, but it encourages knowledge sharing, creativity, and meaningful collaboration across regions and cultures. It aims to strengthen IAS's collective alignment with the UN 17 Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, celebrates excellence in and outside of the classroom, in and outside of the lab and the research field, and it really offers opportunities in leadership to bring your ideas into tangible real world impacts, that young people such as all of us can achieve when we have the platform and support to take ideas and smaller scale projects and translate them directly into action and something much larger than we're currently engaging in. So yeah, those four big kind of pillars, I'll say, of the GPC are, recognition and global visibility for our innovative projects as one big IAS family here. Uh, Collaboration, we want not only students working together on the ground on these projects, but also, these could expand beyond local committees. They could expand beyond national committees. We want alignment with the SDGs, which is a crucial factor. So all projects must have some component that aligns with one of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, and ideally more than one of the SDGs. And then last but not least, that excellence piece, right? So we want to celebrate your creative minds, your innovative ideas, and take the things that you're working on in your communities to the next level. Also, just to note, there will be a section at the end for question and answer. But if you have anything in the meantime, please just put it in the chat if you don't want to forget, and we will come back and address it. So as of 2025, there are now 7 core project themes within IAAS World. The GPC encompasses these 7 distinct and powerful themes, each that address critical global challenges through youth-led innovation. These themes provide a comprehensive framework for these sustainable development projects and allow committees to focus their efforts where they can make the most significant impact. And we'll dive into these deeper here one by one, but just a quick top-down overview. We have the Village Concept Project that looks at rural development and community transformation, the Women in Agriculture Project that focuses on gender equality and women's empowerment, the No Food Waste Project looking at sustainable consumption and food security, One Health Initiative that focuses on the interconnected human, animal, environmental wellness, the Delta Project, which looks at water management and Delta region resilience, and then 2 new project thematics that have been launched this year and will really get to be showcased through this year's GPC are TII, or Technological Innovation and Integration, which focuses on digital and technological solutions for modern agriculture. And then on the other side of the spectrum here, this Traditional Ecological Knowledge, or TEK project that focuses on revitalizing and integrating indigenous and agricultural wisdom into our modern day food systems. So first and foremost, we have the Village Concept Project. Village Concept Project, or VCP, is IAAS World's largest and oldest project and represents large-scale rural development initiatives that are implemented directly in villages and rural communities around the world. These transformative projects are fully organized and led by youth, as are all of our projects, and they're designed to create measurable social impact that directly contribute to the UN SDGs. VCP projects support village progress and development while adapting to changing times and preserving local culture, traditions, and values. And it's a unique approach that ensures that modernization and development respect and strengthen community identity. So this project has been going on for quite a few decades now. We've seen a wide variety of these happen all over the world, and it's really exciting that this initiative is still taking place today and uplifting communities worldwide. A little bit about VCP in the sense of what it focuses on. So it looks at education. It aims to focus on capacity building, awareness campaigns, and skill development programs that empower community members with knowledge and tools for growth. It focuses on the environment, so conservation initiatives, sustainability practices, and climate smart agricultural approaches that protect natural resources now and for future generations. And lastly, it looks at community development, so livelihood improvement, social inclusion, and empowerment programs that really strengthen community bonds and create economic opportunities for people on the ground. The Women in Agriculture project is this groundbreaking initiative, that was launched in 2018, coinciding with International Women's Day. So this project was conceptualized through collaborative discussions during the World Congress back in Indonesia, and at the 59th Congress, and in Mexico at the 60th. And it really focuses on aligning with SDG number 5, which is gender equality. So Women in Ag is designed to strengthen the role of women in agriculture worldwide by creating this inclusive platform where women can share ideas, experiences, and challenges within agriculture and the larger food sector, I should say. The initiative really promotes equal participation and leadership of women in the sector and supports them in overcoming systemic barriers through collaboration and knowledge exchange. So really focusing on that gender equality piece, promoting equal opportunities and recognition in ag and related sciences, aims to empower women through building capacity and developing skills through targeted training and mentorship, giving visibility to women and increasing recognition of women's contributions to agricultural development worldwide. And last but not least, of course, focusing on leadership and encouraging women-led solutions for sustainable agricultural innovation. Next we have, is that the bottom of that slide? Yeah. Next we have the No Food Waste Project. So this was launched by IAAS World back in 2016 during World Food Day, and it aims to address one of the most pressing challenges facing global food systems today, which is food waste. We know worldwide that we oftentimes, in a lot of cultures and contexts, we produce enough food, but the issue is the waste and what we do with these waste streams. You know, whether we have a full plate of food and we're throwing away half of it, or we have food residues that aren't, revitalized and valorized as a new type of waste stream, or, valorizing waste streams into new products in that way. And so this project really aims to address those challenges. It was introduced alongside the IAAS Against Food Waste magazine, and the concept emerged from a working group back at the 59th World Congress. But it really aims to tackle that issue of food waste across communities and is primarily aligned with SDG number 12, which is responsible consumption and production, as well as SDG 2, zero hunger, and SDG 13, climate action. Overall promoting more sustainable and equitable food practices at every level of the food chain, right? So food waste is not only the food we're throwing away on our plates, it's the stuff that's deemed, not pretty enough to maybe hit the grocery store, or even sometimes things that are just left behind in the field and go to waste due to, inefficient practices in harvest and things of that way. So No Food Waste really focuses on raising awareness and educating communities about food loss and waste, especially at that household level. It works to promote efficiency and encouraging this efficient use of food during preparation, cooking, and consumption. We really love to see ideas along the creative reuse and recycling sector, right? So inspiring responsible use of leftover ingredients and materials, taking those not pretty or not ideal veggies and fruits and things like that, and turn it into something else. I've seen really innovative projects here. I remember one of the most fascinating ones was taking leftover coffee grounds and turning that into a substrate to grow like horticultural crops out of, or taking food waste from like papayas and mangoes and turning that into like a high fashion leather, right? So you can get really creative with food waste. And last but not least, overall, this just aims to drive change, right? So contributing to food security and environmental sustainability at every level of that food value chain. Next, we have the One Health project or initiative, and it's a comprehensive EAS initiative in that way that addresses the critical interconnections between humans, animals, and environmental health. As we know, as our world is becoming increasingly interconnected, the interactions between people, animals, and our shared ecosystems have intensified, and they bring new challenges that require these integrated solutions. So, this initiative really recognizes the growing impact of zoonotic diseases and global health challenges that do not respect geographical, species, or environmental boundaries, right? We know that we live in a very interconnected, globalized world, and things that happen in one small region or one small context often have pretty drastic ripple effects worldwide. So, and oftentimes on our health, right? So human health is profoundly influenced by the welfare of animals, the conditions of our environments, and the One Health approach provides this essential framework for understanding and addressing these complex human health issues within our interconnected world. And so these kind of four pieces of the pie here, human health, focusing on disease prevention and health promotion, animal health in terms of veterinary care and welfare, environmental health as ecosystem protections and sustainability. And all that leads back into this cross-sector collaboration where we explore integrated solutions and partnerships with our groups. So a lot of times these initiatives and projects can be alongside students in the veterinary sector or the pharmaceutical sector, or people that are on track to become doctors, or even people working in policy and environmentalists and things that how I treat one environment has a ripple effect on the animals that graze there, has a ripple effect on how I consume those animals. And then I turn around and, maybe then what am I spreading to the world? So really having this systems level approach to worldwide health. And overall, it aims to raise awareness, like I said, on zoonotic diseases and prevention strategies while addressing antimicrobial resistance, vector-borne diseases, and food safety. It promotes environmental health and reducing contamination risks, and encourages this cross-sector collaboration for sustainable global health solutions. I'll take a second here. Okay, I don't see any hands or comments. Next, we have what was one of the newest EAS projects. This project was launched actually when I started in EAS back in 2023 at Wageningen University in the Netherlands. If anyone's here from Wageningen, hello. But yeah, the EAS Delta project is this dynamic global network, so to say, promoting cooperation and collaboration among public, private, and civil sectors within the sustainable management of delta regions worldwide. Delta areas are among the most productive, but also the most vulnerable ecosystems on Earth and require really innovative approaches to ensure their long-term prosperity and resilience, right? We see that so much of our food, so much of our clean water, our irrigation comes from these delta ecosystems, but these ecosystems are also at the forefront of climate change and are often some of the most heavily impacted and least equipped regions to deal with the impacts and implications of climate change. And so the Delta Project focuses on water management that serves as the key driver of prosperity within Delta regions. And the project empowers locally led and youth-led initiatives in these critical areas. It encourages global and peer-to-peer learning and acts as this cross-sectoral bridge between countries, stakeholders, and generations that facilitate this knowledge transfer and collaborative problem solving towards keeping our water resources clean and healthy and accessible for everyone. The initiative is actively represented through projects and participation in global conferences, contributing directly to SDG number 6, which is clean water and sanitation, and indirectly supporting SDGs 2 of zero hunger, 8 being decent work and economic growth, 9 industry, innovation, and infrastructure, and of course, 14, life below water. And so the three big focus areas here, of course, are water security, improving that water management and ensuring water security in Delta regions through innovative practices and techniques and technologies as well. Agricultural livelihoods, right? So supporting and sustaining these livelihoods by addressing water challenges faced by these communities. And last but not least, climate resilience. So promoting climate resilient and sustainable delta ecosystems that can withstand environmental pressures and really be resilient in the face of rapidly changing world. And now we go on to the two new project themes. So these two new projects are being integrated during my time as IAAS World President, and they really aim to address a growing divide and growing gap within our modern agricultural systems, where we recognize that not only do we need pretty high-tech solutions, right? We live in a digital technological world. We've got satellites floating above our heads. We've got data running all around, right? There's now AI that is, in pretty much every single one of our lives day to day. And none of that, at least in my mind, is going away anytime soon. So how do we not only innovate within technology, but integrate it into our agricultural food systems? And overall, this TII project is a forward-thinking program that empowers students to integrate these modern technologies into agriculture and environmental sciences, right? As I just mentioned, as the agricultural sector faces these unprecedented challenges, TII addresses this critical need for digital and precision solutions for sustainable food systems. It really highlights the transformative role of ag tech, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, and data analytics in solving agricultural challenges, and aims to bridge the gap between agriculture technology and innovation. Its goal is to increase impact across all IAAS levels, from local committees to our global partners, and really promotes the adoption of digital and innovative solutions within IAAS while supporting local committees and communities in that way, and integrating technology into projects that might already be ongoing on the ground. And ways that we can currently explore how this works is, through webinars and workshops. So having expert-led sessions on ag tech and smart farming tools, developing toolkits and guidelines, so resources for technology integration in IAAS projects. Kind of what GPC is right now is this like hackathon style, but even exploring beyond GPC, like hackathon style activities and competitions. And then also having these strategic partnerships. So working with experts, startups, and ag tech partners to help bring ideas that could be started here at GPC beyond. Important to note here, a lot of times technology is conceptualized as something that can be really expensive or time consuming or costly, but all of us have a lot of free resources at our disposal, right? Everything from, free CAD design technologies online to, ChatGPT at the basic level is free to use. There's a lot of, web app development solutions that are available online. So don't think that you can't have an idea for a project in TII without $1 million startup, right? And maybe your project is even something big. You're designing a robot. You have this idea for a whole Internet of Things, environment of sensors, soil moisture components, things measuring, electrical conductivity in the ground. Any of that, right, can be proposed in GPC. Just to be aware that like the prize money will not be $1 million. Why? Okay. And overall, TI encourages collaboration across the technical and non-technical spaces, ensuring that all students can contribute to using tech to show the program encourages others to embrace innovation in their own communities. I'm going to pause for a second. Kevin, if you have access still to the Zoom, this was set up as like a paid meeting. I just got a notification this is going to end in less than 10 minutes. If you're able, could you, as I keep going here, could you maybe generate another meeting and share that link in the chat? And at maybe 1 minute to go, everyone could hop over. I apologize for what's going to be the delay. But yeah, I just don't want it to cut out here. Thank you very much, man. And now we will go to the last, but certainly not least, IAAS project. So all the way on the other side of high-tech projects is traditional ecological knowledge, right? TEK is an initiative operating within this global network of IAAS that's dedicated to revitalizing and integrating the practices and principles of food production that have kept us alive and fed for thousands of years, and where those fit into our modern agricultural systems. It's an innovative program that promotes the economic and ecological value of TEK by connecting successful practices from decades and millennia past um, into these private sector NGO and farming communities. It really acts as a knowledge amplifier and network bridge that highlights compelling evidence that these traditional farming methods are actually more resilient and valuable than a lot of what we call like the commercial or contemporary farming methods of today, right? Like we recognize that large scale monocropping is pretty bad for the planet. Massive blanket sprays of pesticides are really not good for us. And it's only been about 100 years, a little over 100 years or so, since we've seen the advent of mineralized fertilizers, you know, combustion engines, for tractors, switching even just from like livestock pulled, uh, troughs and plows. And now, even more so in the last just even 5 to 6 years, this use of drones and automated tractors and, you know, artificial intelligence and things. None of that was around for thousands and thousands of years. And yet we can see through, history and evidence that people were alive and fed. And we can take those practices, right? This project really inspires me and is a big area where I even got into agriculture of what are these practices? What are these principles? What were these cultures that were focused on cultivating food and how do they keep people alive, right? So everything from, some of my biggest interests are like the Chinampas of Mexico and the Central and South American region of like these like floating gardens that were built out of mud and clay, or looking at like terraced rice systems in parts of Southeast Asia, Korean natural farming, making these like large things of natural compost from crop residues and then turning that back around. And there's a book that I will forever cite as like the reason I got into agriculture, The One Straw Revolution by Masanobu Fukuoka, who just lived in such a bizarre time where he was growing citrus in a very traditional way from what would have been feudal Japan, but then grew up during World War II and saw mechanized tractors, mineralized fertilizer, and he continued farming in these traditional practices throughout his entire life up until his death just in the last 10 years or so. And he was able to compete, not at scale, but at price with people spraying their oranges, doing all these crazy things to keep them as nice at the grocery store. And he proved that very simple, he quote, do nothing farming was his methodology. And he produced just as well as people that were putting a lot more time and effort into it than he did. So that's what TEK really aims to focus on, is just taking these initiatives and understanding where they fit within the modern world and really giving them a platform to thrive. And yeah, just kind of five petals of a flower here, right? So TEK looks at that network building, just having collaborative connections within sectors, this knowledge exchange between people that are honestly quite older than us. Most of us have not grown up, at least directly, within a more of a traditional ecological knowledge system of food production, but we can learn from our elders and people that have lived in, the past. Advocacy for what these knowledges are, and showcasing this resilience and market value. And then it goes into market recognition, right? Increasing income for ecological projects, products, and research. And then finally, having strategic partnerships. So trying to work with people that understand the importance and resilience of these types of practices and how they can be implemented today.
Hi everyone. This is Upendra, currently working as a senior project manager in ES World under the President Chris. So today we had a session for the participants to get prepared for the global project competition that we had already been announced from our social media site. So this is the session especially for the participant to know about the GPC and how to apply for that and its benefit that we are going to get from ES World, and also some global recognition that you can get in the upcoming days. As Chris has already discussed about the seven different projects, like two are newly added in his tenure, and he gives insightful presentation on how that project works and how you can get aligned the theme while submitting your project. So we'll be preparing for some application process, how we can get applied, and like having some marking criteria, how can you make your project impactful, and get a prize from IAAS World in different categories. So yeah, you can see over here the QR of the link that you can get after scanning this. So any local committee, national committee that is either full fusion or the candidate a member of IAS can uh, get access to participate in the global project competition. But the one thing is for the fusion or the candidate committee, executive board and the control board approval is required, and the applicant must present their plan so that they can revive their committee or admit it in the competition. So for every participants, you can get a chance to submit up to three projects from
Recording
any
in
of the core
progress.
theme that Chris has already discussed. But however, a participant can only receive only one prize, ensuring the fair distribution of recognition across Yes network. So a proposal may be submitted in any of the three official Yes language. It can be either English, French, or Spanish, so that it can be accessible to the committee worldwide. So for that, you need to check the eligibility if you are eligible to apply for the project and get approval from EBCB if you require that. It's especially for the fusion or the candidate committee, and prepare a proposal. You can develop your project in either English language, French language, or Spanish. Then you can submit an application. Next page.
Yes, and important to note, we'll talk a little bit more about deadlines here later, but the deadline to apply is 10 days from now. So by January 1st, your project has to be like you have to have applied to this.
All right. So after that, you should know about the jury composition. Like every year, we had a jury member from the different categories, maybe from regional representation, from partners, and from the if some people are from the same region, they could be from different countries to maintain the fair and equal chance to promote a project. So you can see for the regional representation, two jury member that are selected from yes region that can ensure a global perspective and the balanced evaluation. So member can be selected from the executive board, control board, and quality board, and also from the regional board to ensure the fair representation of the jury composition. And for this jury composition, we believe in the diversity, because if a jury member are from the same region, they have to be from the different country to ensure the verified perspective and the prevent regional biasness. So for that, regional board may nominate a qualified jury member for this competition, and we believe the control board oversee the entire process without any voting rights that can maintain the transparency and the fairness in the competition. So no jury member can belong to submitting committee. So if you are from the jury member, you cannot submit the application or the project from any national or the local committee. So you have to be pretty think about that. So if we find that one of the jury member get participate, then we can solely disqualify that project. So get aware about that issue. So we can also have some sponsorship representative. They may be joined if available, so that they can provide some valuable industry perspective while maintaining some competition in terms of educational and the
Aceh,
developmental
Aceh.
focus.
Ya Allah, astagfirullah.
Next slide.
Sorry, just to add on to this, I realized I had messed up in creating part of the slide. So there will be two rounds of the jury. So the first round will be completely, as this slide shows, composed of ES members from EBCB, Quality Board, and regional boards. They will select in that way semi-finalists, and then we'll have a second smaller jury composed of sponsors and partners from anyone ranging from like the International Seed Federation, the International Dairy Federation, potentially someone from Corteva, the World Bank, Nestle, World Food Forum, FAO, right? So these juries are still being pulled together, but it will be a two-round selection process, and winners will be notified by the towards the end of January.
All right. So after you get submitted your proposal for GPC, then we do have the jury composition have a different grading criteria. You can see about the rubric cube that we have shared in the social media. There are some like things that you need to focus while submitting your proposal, while submitting your project. So first one, where jury takes consideration is about the originality of the project. So what originality means that you have to identify some problem in your local community and in your country that can represent, okay, this is the project that can actually represent us from the local community or from the national perspective. So your project need to explain like what specific problem that you have identified, and that can provide some evidence for why this solution is required to incomplete or to complete to address your challenges in your community. So after identify that problem, you have to show your idea like how it is different from your previous project. Like most of the country, they are like submitting the project year by year, but the main thing is if your project is different from the previous one, that might be count as the original project. So you have to be really focused on that. So like if your project is different from your past project in terms of community execution, in terms of regional one and global, that can make your approach unique in terms of the execution. So if you are demonstrating like how you common use your resources or establish practice in a new, unexpected and a creative way to achieve your goal, then you can be categorized as a creative applicant in terms of the project. So we believe in our one statement in terms of originality, like what makes your project original it compares to other. Like there are lots of projects. So if your project stand out as the original project that can really address the local community problem, then that will be a really good point for you in terms of the grading criteria. Next one. Yeah. So next one is innovation and the creativity. So this is the very interesting thing. Like the project need to involve some genuinely new method, like tools or the approach that can advance in the field. So we, as a jury member, will be looking out for that project that can improve the efficiency, quality, and the effectiveness of a project, so that we can address some of the agriculture and the sustainability challenge in our community. So if you are applying a project, and you have to be pretty much focused on the innovative project that can combine different type of idea from the different field, that can be either from the technology in terms of infrastructure, agriculture, and the modern science, so that you can like easily demonstrate the creativity, and your project can be like visually or the conceptually uh, presented in terms of thoughtfulness and the attention to engage the audience, so that we can also have some creativity in terms of storytelling. Like look, there was some problem in my community, then I looked up for this thing, and this how we are planning to execute this project. So if you maintain the creativity in terms of the storytelling while executing your project or the presentation, that might be really creative and innovative, right? So that can grab the attention from the jury panel and also from some of the audience. So your innovation and the creativity must have some new method that can introduce some new novel approach, tools, and technique that were not be used in the previous time. So another one is like system enhancement, like that have to improve your efficiency, quality, and the effectiveness of existing system through your creative problem solving skills. And another one is cross disciplinary thinking, that can, it means you have to combine the idea from the different field, as I have already told, and you have to make sure that your presentation stand out in terms of the different group. And you can also make some good thing through the storytelling technique that will be uh, getting some interest from the jury panel. Next. Nice. So next one is applicability. The most important thing of the project is your project should be applicable to execute. It's not only about presenting some draft or idea or some outline. Okay, this is the project that we are going to execute. So if you are not able to execute your project in the ground level, then it is not worth it. So make sure that your project is applicable in the real existing ground level. So for that, you have to maintain your clear implementation path. You have to maintain your methodology. Like, look how this is the way that we are executing the project. This is the timeline of our project. So you have to prepare the timeline of your project, and you have to integrate the system. Like your project must be fit within the existing system. It's not like a fascinating. Okay, we cannot execute that. That's not happening. So you have to make sure that your project will strongly fit in the existing system so that you can work with the available resources with the current structure. And more important thing is your project should have some realistic requirement. It's not about, like, as I have already told, your project should not be kind of fascinating. So unrealistic project are not like getting more consideration. So that you have to be very honest. Like if you are not willing to execute it more than 1 year or within 6 months, you have to be very honest. Look, this is the timeline of our project, and we will be completing our project within this period of time. So uh, after getting price, like, we'll be cross-checking your project. So if you are saying that in while in the presentation, okay, we will be executing this project within the 6 period of time, 6 month of time, and you are not doing things at all, so that will be a very like dishonest. So we have to be very make sure that you are honest to your project, you are honest to your timeline, and you are honest to your proposal. So you have to be very like sure about that. And another one is your project should have one replication potential. Like, while doing the research, we often say that if your research is being carried out by the upcoming generation in the same way that you have presented, and that is the successful research. So what we are trying to say is, if you execute that project in the upcoming days in the same way that you have done in the previous one, then that can make the impactful replication potential. So that can provide a roadmap for the upcoming junior. Like, if your committee get like in date, and your upcoming junior also follows your roadmap, so that's how you can make your project applicable.
Yeah, we want to
Next.
see these projects not only just happen now or for a couple of months, but could be something that really extends, for years into the future here.
Yes. Now, this is the more important thing. Like, we often talk about SDG, Sustainable Development Goal. It means about like taking your project to the long run. As Chris has already said, your project should not be executed only for this term. Make sure that you will be doing the project or replicate your project in the upcoming days too. So we have to believe that the project needs to be like continue creating some long value run after the initial implementation. So we as a jury member wants to see some connection that your project will be aligning with some UN development goal that can clarify how your work contribute to the global priorities. Like, strong applicant like clearly mention about their SDG, their project addressing, and the direct connection between the project activities and these SDG goals. So they can show like how these their resources, their partnership, or the community involvement while executing this project beyond their initial phase. They can also challenges, like they can also address their challenges in that way that won't be creating some of challenges in the upcoming days. If your project are aligning with the SDG, they will be clearly like they will be going for the long run. So for that, you have to identify which sustainable development goal that your project is being like carried out. So after getting that, you have to make sure that the project will continue after the initial implementation through sustainable practice and the structure. It's not only about executing the project within the period of within a month, and after that their project will finish. That won't be happening. So make sure that your project will be going for the long run. And next one is resource sustainability. There are not like effective resources or the like lots of resources in a local community. There are some limited resources while executing the project. Like most often, like most of the region might have some financial crisis, some human resource crisis, some technological crisis. So we have to execute our project within limited resources so that we can involve some community people. We can like motivate our members, or you can also get connected with local bodies so that you can ensure that your project are smoothly carried out in the long run. And the main important thing for the sustainability and SDG is you have to mitigate the challenges. Like if you have some challenges in your community or local community, you have to make sure that your problem, like that problem, is being mitigated or prevented through your project. So your project is a solution of the problem that are currently existing in your local community. So that's how it makes a better project. So next.
Yeah, just to shoe cap that here, we want to see things like we can see problems all over the world, but we really want to see things that address something that you have your hands on, right? So it doesn't have to be the exact place where you live, but if you don't have access to work on this project on the ground, it's not going to be very feasible, right? If you live in one country and you have something planned for 1,000 kilometers away, that's not accessible. That's not really even sustainable, right? You'd have to spend a lot of resources to get there. So something that you are able to have your hands directly involved in that really makes this change within your community.
Yeah, definitely. And the another thing is the impact that your project will be carrying out. So impact basically is about the change that your project could bring out in the community. So we as a jury member wants to see a concrete like evidence of change, not just the activities or the intention or the picture from the social media pages. So if your community is actually being like progress from your project, then that will be a very plus point for that project. So you can also use some of the number, some of the data, or make some video so that your project have actually making some impact in the local community. Like let's take an example. If you are preparing a project based on the vermicompost, then you can share that vermicompost to the community, and you can have a look on the crop growing pattern after using that compost. So you can capture some video like before using the compost the crop was that, and after using the compost we can get the changes. So that changes, that impact will be really a plus point while executing your project. So for a project we have four different things that we have to address, like who are benefited from a project, like the beneficiary identification. You have to be very much focused, and how your result helps to reach over the number of people. Like you can use your number, you can use your data to demonstrate the reach. Like look, these are the number of people, these are the number of community that we had able to bring change through our project. So after that, like what measurable outcomes that we have got from your project, like if your project has been successfully accomplished, then we'll be looking after about some of the change in the behavior or the knowledge or the livelihood of the people that you have conducted that project. And one important thing in terms of impact is you have to lead by example. Like if you have executed your project in some community, and the people of that community should praise you in terms of the exemplary accomplishment. Look, these are the students from that local community or that university. They do the project over here, and they actually bring some changes in our community. So you have to lead by example by executing your project. So that you can share some of the real example that brings the impact to the life. So this can be focused, like while giving the presentation you can bring some of the real life story so that we can get connected. Okay, this is the things that people actually wants to have to execute it in the project. So next. All right, so this is the last grading criteria, like entrepreneur initiative. So executing the project is not only about conducting it and doing some uh, activities or performance. It's about getting some financial initiative or financial credit after accomplishment that project. So it's basically going beyond our idea. Like if our project is being already implemented or tested with some of the good result, so we jury wants to see some of the evidence of execution. So if you are preparing for the presentation, make sure that you have some kind of like execution level, not only planning, okay, we will be doing this and this is our timeline. We will be like giving some good response for that. You have to make sure that you have somehow initiated that project, you have somehow executed that project in the ground level. So this criteria basically reward the project that have moved from the concept to reality. We will be expecting that your project has been already moved to reality level, not only in the paperwork but also in the ground level work, in the field work. So that's how we'll be looking after. So for that we'll be having some curiosity to know if that project is been already implemented or tested with some real life world experience, not just only the paperwork. So another one is like we have to present some concrete or the quantifiable result in terms of production, in terms of revenue, how your project will be adapted, and how you can demonstrate the success of your project. So after that, you have to explain your financial, social, and organizational feasibility through a clear analysis that can give us evidence of sustainable operation, that your project will be run in the sustainable basis in the long run. So after that, like you have to like we can also highlight some of the partnership or the sponsorship that you can support your project, or that you can maintain the validity in terms of its importance. Like okay, yeah, we will be collaborating with that partners. We'll be like getting some of the financial aid beyond yes. So you have to make sure that your project will be long run basis in terms of the partnership. So another one is the growth strategy. Like you have to describe some detail or the realistic plan so that you can scale up your project. Sometimes what happens, like if your project is about, let's take an example of 1,000 euro, and you are not getting the 1,000 euro, you are just getting the 200 euros, right? So remaining 800, you have to be focused, like how you can manage those things so that your project get executed, not only in date. So we have to make sure that if you are making some realistic plan to scale up your project and to reach out the more number area, then will definitely help you in terms of financial year. So it will be happen after like either from the prize money or from some of the connection that we can develop you to some of the partnership. Next.
Yeah, and to build on what Upendra said here, this is kind of a new angle we're bringing to the GPC this year, but this is in response to conversations that we've had at global conferences from our partners and our sponsors, and really just trying to stay relevant in the modern age of, despite our passions and intentions to have projects that are purely community development focused or purely you know aid focused in that way, a lot of times we see that they can fall short if they don't have some sort of driver behind them. And that driver a lot of times is money, right? So we want you to think of these projects as almost a business plan, right? Like we recognize it's a lot harder to bring projects from 0 to 1, bringing just an idea to reality, than it is to go from 1 to 2 and help you accelerate your project to that next stage. So while we will accept ideas that haven't begun yet as proposals, we are really focusing on projects that have some sort of entrepreneurial value and could be something that not only is of interest to explore as a project, but could like turn into supporting your life, right? Could turn into a small business, and that the prize money isn't purely just for research or exploration, but could be seed money to start something that could support you for many years to come. And so this is a really new angle we're taking with the GPC, um, but could be really life changing if done correctly.
Yeah, definitely. It's better to start rather than uh, having some of the plan. So that prize money will be really a foundation seed for your project. So so that you can have execution, like you can start from the zero level. So now we have some price payment like structure and the recognition that you are going to get from your project. So we have our payment structure in two different installment. Like after announcing the result within 30 days, 50% money will be immediately transferred for the continuation of the project. And after 6 months, after evaluating your project, actually, not only the duration of 6 months, we will be looking after if your project has been accomplished successfully or not. Will be able like evaluate through your report and your social media presence and impact. After that, we'll decide if your project needs the 50% money or not. So this time we'll be looking after the project if you are actually doing that project on the ground level, or just you are doing some social media or like promotion or uh, that's the thing. And another one is you will get the global opportunity like every year. Like we had some good project that are representing IAAS in the World Food Forum flagship initiative. So top three winner will receive the exceptional opportunity to join the Global Youth Food Lab Project Accelerator that gain an assist for the mentorship. You will get some resources and basically important network that can transform your project. And the most important thing is the winner also have a chance to present their project in the prestigious UN World Food Forum flagship event that will be happening like every year. It will be happening in Rome on next October. So you can showcase your work in the world most important stage for the food system innovation. So you can have a prize, you can have a look over prize. The first category top prize for outstanding innovation will get €1,000. It's a very huge money. And the second one will get the €800. Like here's their team will be recognized for the exceptional work. And third place will get €500. We'll be celebrating that significant impact for the every winner team. And fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh top four project will get the seed money of €300 that can support some continuous development in terms of your project. So next,
Yeah, just to so there's a lot of money at stake here, right? And as Upendra said, 50% is given up front, but this is where that metric and reporting piece really comes in. That we're gonna keep track on you, right? So like you, if you win, you get 50%, but we need to see that that project is actually being implemented and has some sort of tangible, measurable impact on the ground to receive the rest of the seed money. And yeah, those top three winners, a really amazing opportunity. You'll be nominated to join the Global Youth Food Lab. And ES has had a really strong history of success. Two of the top winners at this year's World Food Forum flagship event in Rome started as EOS GPC projects in one way, shape, or form. So this isn't just a theory, right? Like a project that could be small and on the ground now could go all the way to you're presenting in front of thousands of people at the FAO headquarters in Rome in 10 months. So a really amazing opportunity here. So I would jump at this as much as you can.
yeah. So we are at the last of this presentation. So like we often say, like competition is not about winning. Like throughout the competition, we have some first, second, third, and everything. But we believe competition is all about learning. So if you are not getting a good position in this competition, probably the next better competition will be waiting for your project. So don't lose the hope. If your project don't stand out in this competition, don't worry. We'll have a next planning, we will have a next competition that can sign your project very crisply. So this global project competition is not just a contest that gives the seed money for the winner. It helps your project to turn into the global change. So if you are executing a project in the local level, it can be turned into the global action that can amplify or multiply your voice and innovation of the young leader who are receiving agriculture food system in the sustainable development. So whether if your project is still in the idea phase and already demonstrating measurable result in the field, like you have to make sure that your voice is matters. Like if you are executing some project in your community, your voice will be clearly audible to that community and you can create a change in that community. So while submitting your project, keep in mind that your submission will be contributing to the global network of youth led innovation that helps to inspire the global people from the different region of the world, and that can also create some pathway for the collaboration across the border. So as we have our theme, think globally, act locally. So you have to act local at your region, at your national committee, so that you can create a great impact in the global region. So if your project are not been ready, get ready, have a planning with your team, have some meeting with your team, divide the work within a team member, and prepare a plan, prepare a proposal, and get ready to submit in the global project competition. We will be more than happy to welcome a lots of applicants, lots of projects, so that it will make us difficult to figure out who will be getting a chance to represent ES in the global World Food Forum this year. So we are more than excited. We are more than happy to assist you in terms of executing your project, and we'll be looking after your participation in this global project competition. So think globally, act locally, and get ready to submit in the global project competition. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Thank you very, very much, Upendra. And thank you everyone for joining us today. We hope that the session was really insightful and inspiring and just encourages you to, think locally, act globally. So if this resonates with you, if this is something you're interested in and think you can do, please submit your application and do so as soon as possible. That window is still quite short. You've got a little over 10 days to get your project submitted, and we'd really like to hear from you. I'm going to submit my email and number in the chat here, and Upendra, maybe if you could put your email in as well. If anyone has any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to reach out to us. With the last couple minutes we have, we could take maybe one or two questions if anyone has one. And otherwise, we will break and let you all enjoy the rest of your day here. Anything at all come up to mind? I know I saw firsthand this year. I was at that flagship event in Rome, and it was really inspiring to see something that started at such a ground level reach all the way to the top. And not only, as Upender said, like this is about learning and development. For every winner, right? There's someone that doesn't make it all the way to the end, but nonetheless, we still want to see as many project proposals as possible, and we'd love, and encourage you to continue with these whether you're selected or not, right? We have a very long history of EAAS projects. The GPC as a concept is quite new, and especially this youth food lab component is only a couple years old. But we've had projects done for many, many years, decades now, that are purely aimed at just supporting communities and uplifting people's lives. So with that, I don't see any hands raised. I don't see any questions. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything at all, please reach out to myself, reach out to Upendra, reach out to EB, CB. I would be more than happy to talk with you. But with that, I think we will break. So once again, thank you, Upendra. Thank you, everyone, for your time. And yeah, hope to see your applications come in the next few days. But yeah, go further, go yes, guys. Have a great day.
Yeah, good night, everyone.